What is going on, guys? Welcome to more Cinematic Chaos. I think you might be noticing something a little bit different. Usually you see me sitting down in a chair to do reviews like this. However, this time I am standing up. And you might also notice that the camera quality is a little bit different. This is actually the smartphone camera. I am using a smartphone camera, and it's really kind of just testing the waters. I want to see how well and just how good this camera looks in comparison to what I was using before, which was a crappy old Sony Handycam that it was good for what it was, but it was a Sony 1080p Sony Handycam. This can do 4K, so I want to test out the 4K on it. I want to see how good it looks based on the preview I'm seeing on my phone, though. It's looking pretty good, so I think I might be switching from this for now on to this for now on, but from this, I don't have a proper tripod for it yet, so I had to kind of do a bit of a ghetto setup using the tripod I usually use for my camcorder and something else to basically help prop the camera up. But let me know what you guys think of the quality. Do you think it looks better? Do you think I should just stick with my camcorder and do that? But to me, it looks a lot better. But like I said, I need to find like a smartphone tripod or whatever I can use to use with my smartphone, so I can hopefully use this as kind of like a dedicated camera for recording my movie reviews from now on. But of course, this is, as everybody knows, the month of October, and I haven't really done any horror movie reviews yet. So there are quite a few horror movies I've already seen. I do eventually want to do a video where I kind of go over my general thoughts on the Friday the 13th franchise, because as everybody knows, I did do an unboxing of the complete box set for the Friday the 13th franchise in another video, and I have been watching those movies, so I might eventually just do a video where I basically, instead of just reviewing each movie, I pretty much just give my thoughts on the franchise as a whole, and where I think the franchise goes wrong, because I'm sure plenty of people have different opinions about that, but I kind of want to give my take on it. So anyways, and regardless of that, this video is going to be a review or a Cinematic Chaos review of the movie Alien Covenant. I was putting off seeing this movie for a really long time, mainly because I was hearing so many negative reviews about this movie. I am a fan of the Alien franchise, and I'm one of the few people that actually enjoyed Prometheus. Now, do I acknowledge Prometheus has its problems, mainly due to Ridley Scott's, philosophical, religious, spiritual kind of illusions in the movie, let's say, and the really just kind of what a lot of people seem to have a problem with that movie was the lack of really any xenomorphs in the Alien franchise, which I went into the movie with an open mind. I didn't really mind so much that they were focusing less on the xenomorphs and more on the engineers. I thought it would be interesting to actually focus more on the engineers, because we didn't really know much about it, about the engineers. So I thought it would be cool to actually focus on maybe the lore for the engineers and, kind of expand the lore for the engineers at least in the movie timeline, because I'm pretty sure they've at least done that in the other material, such as the comics and all that. But yeah, I was kind of hoping that in the movie following Prometheus, it would sort of be, a follow-up to the events of Prometheus, where we would see Elizabeth Shaw visiting the engineer planet along with David. Now, we do get that in this movie, but it's a flashback, and basically, not too much of a spoiler, Elizabeth Shaw is killed off screen, which is incredibly disappointing. And I'm not exactly sure if that's because the actress didn't want to come back for this movie or what the reason is. But yeah, Elizabeth Shaw isn't in this movie, and it pretty much picks up apparently like 10 years after the events of Prometheus, with a completely new cast of characters. And I won't say it's unrelated to Prometheus. There are things that they reference from Prometheus, but for the most part, it's trying to be a somewhat different movie, which is jarring if you were coming into the movie thinking you were going to get a follow-up to Prometheus. That's not exactly what this is, unfortunately. And there really, I feel like there needs to be a movie that bridges the gap between Prometheus and this movie, because it seriously feels like when you start watching this movie, you're a bit in the dark as to like some of the details as to what exactly happened in between these two movies. So that's I guess the main criticism really going into this movie. But basically, premise of Alien Covenant. This group of colonists are going to this planet, this uninhabited planet, in order to basically populate the planet, because apparently, I suppose they believe it's a habitable planet, and they have thousands of people aboard this ship. They're going to basically go out and I guess see if the planet is. I don't actually know. I'm guessing they're assuming the planet is habitable, but they have like a team of people that goes out and basically is going to survey the area, I suppose, and then I guess the plan is they're going to have the remaining the thousands of people after that populate the planet. However, there are a lot of problems just right out the gate with this, not necessarily with the concept, because it's something we've seen before. But there are some things that first of all, I didn't know, because I saw the trailer for this, but I don't remember if the movie ever like outright tells you like everybody in this mission, or at least the people who are going out to survey the planet, are all couples. And I'm guessing that's an important detail because they're going to help populate it or something. I'm not exactly sure. But I don't remember if they ever actually mentioned this in the movie. Now, granted, I wasn't paying full attention the whole time, so I could have missed it. But I remember in the trailer they mentioned this, and I mean, I must have missed this in the movie, but it's just not really. You never really get that impression with any of these characters, with their relationships with each other, that they're romantically involved, except with this one character called Tennessee, who his wife is the one of the people like surveying the planet while he's up, kind of in the atmosphere. But other than that, like, I didn't really know who was with who. I was like, I guess that's a thing that I didn't even know about. But yeah, I didn't even know that. But right when they get to this planet, I will say just the planet itself, like, we find out later this was actually the engineered planet that Elizabeth Shaw was going to go to at the end of Prometheus. But the planet is completely devoid of life. There's nothing there. And it just looks like a place on Earth. Like, it just, I mean, until we get to the part where I guess the engineers were living at, which I actually really liked. I thought it was an interesting alien architecture. But before we get to that part of the movie, all we really see is just like a normal looking forest, like any other forest that you would see on Earth. It's really lazy, and it's just like, you compare that to the planet from Prometheus. As much people as you might not like Prometheus, at least you should at least, I think, be able to give it this. It looks like an alien planet. But when you look at this planet, it looks just like some random place on Earth. Like, it's just so, in my opinion, it's incredibly lazy. But of course, with the survey team just goes out of their ship, not wearing any protective suits, nothing. And another thing I can give Prometheus, at least when they went out to survey that planet, they were wearing protective gear. They had some kind of protocol. It seems like these people have no fucking idea what the hell they're doing in this movie. And these people, I'm guessing, are supposed to be like scientists or something. I mean, you would think that they sent, their best and brightest to go and colonize this planet, but apparently they just sent a bunch of idiots, or just regular people, or not even regular people. Regular people are smarter than this. They sent a bunch of retards that don't know what the hell they're doing, because they just walk on this planet like it's like I said, like it's just a place on Earth, and they have no regard for anything, because they're like, and I hate movies like this. I really can't, and I hate when this happens in movies. The whole reason, like one of the main reasons why the plot really for this movie even happens is because one of the characters, or two of the characters, are so stupid that they just don't look at where they're going, and they disturb these egg sac things, and these little microbes come out, and they inhale them. So two people are infected by these microbes that, of course, end up being the seed of what would become the necromorph alien that we see in this movie. Now, I will say, the necromorph itself looks really fucking cool. I really liked that, the look of it, and I really like, just how it's a bit different from the xenomorph. We kind of see it at one point in the movie like standing up straight. That was actually really interesting. I wanted to see more of it, but I just feel like we didn't really get too much of the necromorph, because we sort of jump between like the necromorph and then all of a sudden the xenomorph is here. It's here now, guys, the xenomorph, which is cool, but it's just like, how did we jump in terms of evolution from the necromorph to the xenomorph? It's just not really explained. It's just happens. It feels really rushed. Like Ridley Scott just was like, okay, fuck it. Let's just go ahead and introduce the fucking xenomorph, because all the fans were crying of, oh, we need the xenomorph, the xenomorph. And of course, in this movie here, we have, you guys got your wish. We have the fucking xenomorph. Although it makes no sense how the xenomorph just, it's here now. Anyways, so of course, because these two idiots inhaled these microbes, and they gave, the necromorph just popped out of them. Now we have the necromorph running around, and people die, and this is when David shows up. And you might remember David from the last movie, and of course in this movie it's revealed that David, well, he was sort of an antagonist in Prometheus. Of course he's still an antagonist in this movie, and with David, he kind of fills us in on what happened in between these two movies and what happened with Elizabeth Shaw, which I was just I liked the flashback. That was like one of my more, actually like my favorite part of the movie, is when we see the engineers and like what David did to them. I was like, oh, that's really cool. What else did David do? We just don't really get a lot of that. And I was more interested in like what happened in between these two movies than like some of what's going on in this movie, which sucks, like I wanted more stuff from Prometheus. I wanted, I know a lot of people didn't really care for it, but I feel like Ridley Scott was trying, I'll give Ridley Scott credit here. I think he was like trying to tell a story, and people were just like, no, he just wants xenomorphs. And he's like, okay, well, he's trying to please everybody in this movie, sort of, where he's like, here's the xenomorph, but here's some stuff I, wanted to do in between this movie and Prometheus. And he just didn't know what to do. And it just, and you kind of get that when watching this movie. It feels like a confused mess. So like I said, we have the xenomorph just come in. I really wanted to see more of the necromorph, but of course now we have the xenomorph. David is evil. David's trying to, he's scheming. He's trying to basically become sort of a god. He's trying to create the, basically help the xenomorph become, just create more xenomorphs out of people. And yeah, but I won't really spoil what happened in the rest of this movie. I thought in terms of atmosphere, it was great. It feels a lot like the original, somewhat like the, what we're used to from the original Alien. I thought atmosphere was good. I thought the creatures were fantastic, actually. I thought that was one of the best parts of the movie, was when we see the xenomorphs and the new necromorph. I thought that was great. I thought the kills were fucking amazing looking, for the most part. However, this movie really fucking suffers with the characters because they're completely one-dimensional, completely forgettable. The only character that Ridley Scott tries to do anything with is David, and David just can't really, in my opinion, he's just not a good enough antagonist to really carry the movie, because his motivations just don't really make a lot of sense. He thinks the perfect organism, for some reason, is a fucking xenomorph that is essentially just a killing machine. Why is it a perfect organism, and why is he so obsessed with it? It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I see where Scott was going with the idea. Like, Scott has interesting ideas where he was trying to do with this movie, but it just feels like, in terms of its execution, it's not good. Like, in terms of concept, interesting. In terms of execution, not so great. And that's like my main problem with a lot of stuff in this movie, with a lot of the ideas this movie has, and especially just with the characters. The characters are so badly written and so terrible that it really brings the movie down a lot. And it feels like there's so much missing with the plot, especially trying to bridge the gap between this movie and Prometheus. It just feels like there's so much we're not getting. So that all being taken into consideration, I really am gonna have to say this movie is just a 5. I wanted to say it's a 6, but to me, I'm really debating between a 5 and a 6, but because there's so many things I actually did like about the movie, but the plot and the characters just bring it down, and that's like the meat of the movie. And you just got to sit through that in order to get these awesome looking xenomorphs and the necromorph, and some other stuff you maybe want to see. But you just got to sit through these obnoxious fucking characters being stupid and doing stupid things, and David just kind of, not really making a lot of sense as a villain, essentially. But I think in terms of just the atmosphere and some of the horror elements, such as the body horror and the kills and all that, it was great. But in terms of everything else, it just fell flat, I think. It's not a bad movie. I wouldn't say it's bad. I don't think it's as terrible as everybody's making it out to be. But I feel like it really kind of is between a 5 and a 6, but like I said, it's a 5 for me because because it has such glaring flaws. Even though there are things I might like about the movie, there's so many flaws that you just can't ignore with this. But what did you guys think about Alien Covenant? What did you, are you interested in any further entries in the Alien franchise? I want more. I actually want Ridley Scott to finish up, to actually properly be able to tell the story he started in Prometheus. And apparently that's what he was going to do at one point. I'm not sure if he's still going to do it because he did say he was going to release a movie called Alien Awakening, which I think people were saying is going to bridge the gap between those two. And then there were people saying, there's going to be another Alien movie with Ripley. I'm fine with either one, actually. But let me know what you guys think. As a fan of this franchise, I thought this movie was not bad. It was mediocre, but it was definitely 1,000 times better than a movie made like, say, Alien Resurrection. Way better than that. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will probably be back for some other horror movie reviews later this month. But until then, I will see you all next time.